So today we would be starting with the brief introduction about the Yoga Sutras, the first pada, which is the Samadhi pada. And I would just run you through the Samadhi pada basics. Before that, I would like to start with the introduction of why Yogadarshana and who's the author, how many chapters and things like that. So Yogdarshana is a treatise that is written by Maharishi Patanjali. Maharishi Patanjali is not the inventor or the person who has discovered the yoga, but he was the one who has curated and put all the sutras together. He is called as the compiler of the Yoga Sutras. So these are called as sutras because they are, you see that sutras are very terse. There are very few words in each sutra and they are very precisely written. So that is the nature or the quality of sutra. And sutra, if you see, as the word says, it is like a thread. It is like a thread which binds all the beads together. Or you can just imagine it as a thread with which we can put all the flowers together in a garland. Okay, so each sutra is supposed to be a bead or a flower on the garland. So that is how you can imagine. And this kind of sutra structure will give a continuity from one sutra to the next. That is the beauty of sutras. And you see there are 4 padas. As I'm kind of explaining, you can make your own notes. Like I said yesterday, it is very important to make your own notes. That will help you to revise. There are totally 4 padas, which are nothing but chapters in English. So in the first chapter, which is called as Samadhi Pada, you see that there are 51 sutras here. The Sadhana Pada, which is the second chapter of Yogdarshan, has 55 chapters. Vibhuti Pada, which is the third chapter, has 55 again. Kaivalya Pada has 34 sutras. So these sutras are really very important. The order is important. You have to remember that the sequence has to be followed thoroughly.
Ma'am,
Remember,
third chapter 56 lokana.
56, but
Yeah.
one sutra they have
From
omitted.
Kaivalapada, one sutra we can means according to reference of Raja Yoga, 33 sloka are there in Kaivalapada.
But here, what we are following is in Vibhuti Pada, actually, in the 4 chapters of freedom, there are 56 sutras, but we are not using the 22nd sutra from the Vibhuti Pada. And that is why it is confined to 55 sutras in Vibhuti Pada. Now, when there's a question about how many sutras are there in Yogdarshan, we always try to mention it as 195 instead of 196.
Okay, madam.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So 21st or 22nd sutra is omitted. We don't include that in the list. And in Kaivalya Pada, there are 34 sutras. Okay. So the order, as I said, is very, very important. When you're revising it, you should know the flow of the sutra from the first sutra, what comes up as the second sutra. So that kind of flow is very, very important. You should know it. And coming to the roadmap of Samadhi Pada, you see it starts off with the definition of yoga, which is nothing but, I can say, yoga's chitta vritti nirodha is the definition of yoga. Okay, so Atha Yoganushasana is the exposition which starts off the Samadhi Pada, which means the journey of yoga is beginning. That is how the Samadhi Pada starts off. And then they go on to say, what is the definition of yoga? Yoga's chitta vritti nirodha. And then a little bit of, this is not a sutra, but as such, but this gives you the understanding of what is the chitta bhumi and what are the different chitta vrittis in the subsequent sutras. So if you understand the chitta bhumi, you will be able to understand what happens in the mind. Chitta is kind of related to the mental activity that is happening in our mind, or most of them call it as mind stuff. Okay, that is what is chitta. And in the chitta bhumi, or the planes of the mind, we see that these are the different states. The mind is in kshipta, muda, vikshipta, ekagra, and niruddha avastha. Okay, these are the different chitta bhumis. These are not directly mentioned in the sutra, but this is the basis on which the chitta bhumis are defined. Okay, so you need to remember this. When we talk about chitta, chitta has all these different states. Okay, it can be in kshipta, muda, vikshipta, ekagra, niruddha. Now, do you have idea about Sankhya? I will take you through the Sankhya philosophy also in a little bit, but I think most of you are from the yoga background, so you might be knowing about the gunas, which are sattva, tamas, and rajas. Okay, so kshipta avastha, you see that rajas guna is predominant here, and rajas is related to activity, right? So rajas is related to activity. And mudha, one second, just let me have a look. Maybe sir is trying to say something. Okay. Are you able to see? Are you able to see the Samadhi Pada, the roadmap that I'm showing, or you're seeing some other screen?
We
Yes,
are
madam.
seeing up to Viparya, ma'am. Yeah, now it's finished.
Okay, are you able to see Kshipta, Muda,
If
Vikshipta,
possible,
Ekagra,
make it
Niruddha?
more bigger.
Yes,
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 ma'am.
yes,
It's
ma'am.
clearly visible.
Okay. Okay. So, is this clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So let's proceed. I think I was talking about Kshipta, Muda, Vikshipta, Ekagra, and Niruddha. These are the different states of the mind where the each state has a different guna. As you can see, Kshipta has Rajas predominant. Okay. Sir is trying to give me some kind of what do I say, like the teaching aids, because probably I don't use the online mode of teaching. This is new to me. He's trying to guide me by suggesting what I should be doing. Let me just have a look.
Ma'am, probably he wants you to use full screen. I think that's the issue.
Okay. All right.
Ma'am, click hide.
Now there is the option stop sharing and hide. I think sir is telling you just the hide option. Click to hide in the hide option. Then the option showing there it's not visible anymore.
Sorry, hide.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay.
This
Okay.
Now,
one.
can you see it? Is
Yes,
it clear
ma'am.
now? Okay.
Yeah.
Ma'am, on the left side there are the screens or no, those should be removed. That's what he's saying. So that you zoom more fully.
No, I think you're talking about these, huh?
Yes, ma'am. If you remove that, it becomes more zoomed. So
But I'm
if the
zooming
facility
in,
is not
you
there,
see the text, the font is becoming larger, but the thumbnails or the little screen that you see on the left side, that's not going away. That's still
yeah.
appearing, right?
Yeah, I'm using
Um,
my cell phone, ma'am, so I'm able to zoom. Maybe the others also should figure out a way to do something. Yeah.
I mean, I'm zooming it to the extent where the font is really clear.
Yes, ma'am, it's
Are you all
clear.
able to see the screen well? Are you able to read
Yes,
what is on the screen?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, madam. Yes,
I
madam.
mean,
You go,
no
madam.
problem there.
Okay. So Chitta Bhumi, let me repeat this once again. There are 5 Chitta Bhumis, and the Chitta Bhumis are completely related to the gunas. So they correlate with the gunas. Basing on the guna, we have the state of the mind. Okay. Kshipta Avastha, we have Rajas Guna predominant. Okay, there's a lot of activity happening in the mind. The mind is very, very fluctuated, or I can say it's in a state where it's distracted, highly distracted. Okay, and Mood Avastha is the plane or the state of mind where the tamas guna is predominant. Okay, as most of you know, tamas is inertia, inactivity, ignorance, right? So Moodha relates to that kind of state of mind. Okay, then we have Vikshipta. Vikshipta has a combination of Sattva and Rajas. Now, Sattva and Rajas, the combination of Sattva and Rajas actually provides the mind with a state of concentration and also a state of distraction. So here the mind is at times focusing, at times getting very distracted. But uh, this is the most important state for the yogic journey to start off. Vikshipta Avastha is the start point for yoga avasthas. From here, the yogic journey starts off, not while the mind is in the kshipta or the mudha avastha. Is that clear? And
Yes, ma'am.
then going to Ekagra Avastha, Ekagra is the state of stillness. I mean, one is able to focus on only one particular aspect. And here you see the guna that is predominant is sattva. The sattvic guna is predominant, 99.9%. There are no other gunas getting commingled or combining here. So yogi who is in Ekagra Avastha can hold one-pointed focus continuously for a long time. Okay, then comes the Niruddha Avastha. Niruddha Avastha here, because Sattva is the guna which is like the best out of the 3 gunas, right? And when the Niruddha Avastha comes up, there is no influence of the guna. The gunas have no influence on when a yogi is in the Niruddha Avastha. He's gone beyond the gunas, or we can say gunatit. Okay, so it is important to understand these states of mind, because depending on the states of mind, the yogi's journey from one state to the next state takes off. And there is always a chance that when the yogi doesn't follow the guidance given, he might fall off from the Ekagra Avastha to the Vikshipta Avastha, or even down to the Mudha or the Kshipta Avastha. So that is why the Chitta Bhumis are very important to understand. This is the base. Then we would go to, after you understand the definition of yoga, and then you go into the benefits of yoga. See, the way the next sutra is starting, you have the purpose of yoga. Then after the purpose of yoga, it gives the benefits of yoga. Now, what is the benefit of yoga? Yoga's chitta vritti nirodha leads to a state of complete stillness of the mind. That is the benefit of yoga. That's the nature of kaivalya. Okay. Then we have in the next sutras, we have the types of chitta vrittis. So let me also show the chapters of freedom. This is also a good thing to look at. Yeah. Over here, you see yeah. So you see the benefit of yoga, what happens otherwise to the Purusha? Like the one who is not able to see their own reflection, like a person who is not in that yogic state, what happens otherwise when the mind is in a different state? So that is given in the fourth sutra, which is after the Tadadrashtu Swarupe Avasthanam, then they give about Vritti Sarupyam Itaratra, which means that the vrittis are of different types, right? Vrittis are of different types, and they go on to talk about the vrittis. Now, how many kinds of vrittis are there? How are they classified? Vrittis can either be vrittis which create pain, which inflict pain, or which can be painless. Getting it? So vrittis are of two kinds: vrittis which cause pain and vrittis which are painless. So they are called klishta and aklishta. Klishta means those vrittis which cause pain or harm. Okay, aklishta are the vrittis which do not cause any harm, okay, or pain. This is all, you have to imagine it as a painful mental activity. It might not be physical, but when you relate it to your mind, when you relate it to the thoughts that you get in your mind, thoughts which lead to some kind of pain are called as klishta vrittis. And thoughts which lead to kind of pleasantness or they do not cause any harm in the mind state, those kind of vrittis are called as aklishta vrittis. Then based on this, they have segregated the vrittis into 5 kinds. Now you see these 5 kinds: pramana, viparyaya, vikalpa, nidra, and smriti. These are the 5 vrittis. Okay, so each of these vrittis can either be klishta or aklishta. Now, pramana can either cause pleasantness or can also cause pain. Viparyaya similarly can cause pleasantness or pain. Vikalpa, nidra, smriti, each one depending on the state of mind, depending on the nature of the thought, the nature of the thought, the vritti can either cause painful effects or can be pleasant also. So that is what is described until sutra number 11. Getting it? So we started with the introduction of yoga, which says Atha Yoganushasana, then the definition of yoga, then the benefit of yoga, what happens if we are not in that state of mind which gives stillness. There are vrittis. So what are vrittis and how many kinds of vrittis are there are explained until Sutra 11. Okay, then moving on to the 12th sutra, this talks about, now how do we control these vrittis? We have understood that these can produce painful or painless effects, right? Now, how do we control these vrittis? Is through abhyasa and vairagya. These are the 2 methods which are prescribed in sutra number 12. See, remember the order is very, very important. That is why I'm taking you through each of these, and we'll go into details anyway, but you will get an idea firsthand about which sutra talks about what. Okay, now necessity of abhyasa and vairagya as the methods to control the chitta vrittis. Abhyasa means constant practice, and the foundation of abhyasa is given. Then he goes on to give the vairagya forms. He said about abhyasa and vairagya, 13th and 14th sutras talk about abhyasa aspect. Then 15th and 16th sutras talk about the vairagya aspect. So in vairagya also, there are 2 kinds of vairagya. One is the lower form, the other is the higher form. The lower form is called as apara vairagya, the higher form is called as para vairagya. So we'll go into details about all these things, not to worry about that. So 15th and 16th are about this. Then the definitions of samprajnata samadhi and asamprajnata samadhi are given in sutra number 17 and 18. So we'll also go into details about these over here, and we'll also see more of the samprajnata samadhi and asamprajnata samadhi coming towards the end of the samadhi pada, starting from 41st sutra onwards. So now they just defined the Sampragnata and Asampragnata Samadhi aspects on Sutra number 17 and 18. So remember that. Then Sutra number 19 talks about the merits needed for Asampragnata Samadhi. Okay, so after the merits needed for Asampragnata Samadhi, in the 20th Sutra, he talks about the merits needed for past merits. So past merits, they talk about Bhava Pratyaya Videha Prakriti Layanam. So that is the sutra where they talk about the merits that one has accrued over the past births. So there might be cases where the yogi leaves his body or might have died because of whatever reasons. All those past merits accrue in the next birth, and they continue using those merits and proceed in the yogic journey. So that is given in the 19th Sutra. And the 20th Sutra is otherwise merits needed for a Sampragnata Samadhi for general practitioners who are starting the yogic practice. They have advised different methods like Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna, Purvaka, Iteresham. So these are the different methods given for the others who are practicing yoga in that very birth. So they can also attain Asampragnata Samadhi in that very birth. So don't get panicked. We will get to each of these sutras. I'm just giving you an overview so that you get to understand where we are heading towards. Then the type of practitioners, some practitioners are really very eager to get into that state, and some are, they like it, but they're not very focused on their practice. Others are doing it on a daily basis, but are sometimes missing it. So there are different kinds of practitioners. So these two sutras talk about that. Quicker is intensity of eagerness, and 3 degrees of eagerness, which are Mrudu, the milder ones, which are not very serious. Madhya are the people who do it, but not very consistent. And Mrudu, Madhya, Adhimatra. Adhimatra is the one who is very serious about it and is 100% dedicated and focused in yoga. So they talk about those things also. And then after this, you see they have given the sutra about the devotion to Ishvara, which is Ishvara Pranidhana. Okay, surrender to God. After giving all this, you see the way he has given the next method on how to attain Chittavritti. This is also another method to attain that calmness. So you also think about devotion or surrender to God. Then when they speak about God, when Patanjali Rishi has spoken about God, he also defined about it. What are the qualities of God? Okay, the attributes of God. What is the name of God? Okay, how is he called? Pranava is his name. And what is the sadhana that one has to do on God? Okay, and what is the result of this sadhana? Until Sutra number 29, starting from Sutra 23 to 29, these 6 sutras talk about God, the nature of God, the name of God, the sadhana that one has to do, and the result that accrues. Okay, so this is what is said until Sutra number 29. Then coming to Sutra number 30, you see they've mentioned the obstacles in the path of yoga. After they talk about the results of this sadhana, they speak about obstacles in the path of yoga. Obstacles in the path of yoga are Vyadhi, Sthana, Samshaya, Pramada, Alasya, Avirati, Bhranti Darshana, Alabdha Bhumikatva, Anavastitatva. These are the Chitta Vikshepa. Okay, so these obstacles will be there in the path, in your yogic journey. Now, how do you handle all these obstacles is given in the next set of sutras. Now, before we go to look at all those sutras, there's one more sutra, which is Sutra number 39, which talks about antarayas. Okay, so sahabhuvas. So that which accompanies these obstacles. What are those things which accompany these obstacles? Obstacles are in the mind, but what accompanies is seen in the body, in the physical body. So those are Shwasa Prashwasa Vikshepa. So Dukkha Daurmanasya Angamejayatva Shwasa Prashwasa Vikshepa Sahabhuvaha. So those are the other obstructions that we see in the path of yoga. Okay, and then 32, starting from 32 to 40, Sutra 32 to 40, all of these talk about how to remove these obstacles in the path of yoga. Okay, 32 talks about removal of obstacles by one-pointedness, ekatattva abhyasa. Okay, then 33, by cultivating opposite virtues like Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha, so on and so forth. So by cultivating opposite virtues, one can remove or handle these obstacles. And also by controlling prana, by observing sense experiences, or by inner illumination, like by the illumination that we see within ourselves. With that illumination also we can control the obstacles. And then by detachment from the matter, or by knowledge of dream and sleep. So these things will go into detail, don't worry about that. Or by meditation as desired. So all these are the different ways in which the obstacles are handled. And finally, the fruit of meditation, because towards the end, he has described about meditation. So he's giving the fruit of meditation. Then starting from 41 onwards, he speaks about the samadhi aspects. You see the oneness of the chitta with the object, because the fruits of meditation accrue where he's able to see the oneness of chitta with the object on which he's meditating. This leads to what kind of samadhi? He goes on to speak about Savitarka Samadhi, then comes to Nirvitarka Samadhi. These are the different forms of Samadhi. Okay, and 44 are the other forms of Samadhis. 45 is the extent of Samadhi. 6 is the Samadhi with seed, Sabija Samadhi. Then the spiritual light dawns, Ritambhara Tatra Prajna. So the spiritual light that dawns upon the practitioner. Then the cosmic experience of characteristics of this kind of experience, then dynamic forms of consciousness and samadhi, and then one attains the samadhi without seed, which is the nirbija samadhi or asampragnata samadhi. So from 41 to 51, these 10 sutras are all related to samadhi. Both the first few sutras are related to sabija samadhi, and the last sutra is related to the nirbija samadhi or asampragnata samadhi. Now I'm going to explain what all these things are. So this is kind of a heads up or an overview of all the 51 sutras of Samadhipada. Okay, so let's quickly look at what Sir also has given some notes on this. Let me open up that. So these we have seen the type of chitta vrittis, then solution to the chitta vrittis is through abhyasa and vairagya. So just have it as a revision. We just looked at all these things. These are the methods through which the chitta vrittis are avoided. And vairagya is of two kinds, apara and para vairagya. Then we have sampragnata samadhi, which is of 4 types: vitarka, vichara, ananda, and asmita. These are the sampragnata samadhi kinds. And as I told, there are yogis who pass away and then take birth and have all those accomplishments that they've had in the past birth. From there, they start off the yogic journey again. So bhava pratyaya yogis. Then the steps for the yoga siddhi for the other practitioners who have started in this birth: Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, and Prajna. Then the types of yoga sadhakas, who are Mridu, Madhya, and Adhimatra. 3 kinds of yoga sadhakas. Then coming to the next sutra, which talks about Ishvara. 23rd sutra talks about the definition of Ishvara. Then the name of the Ishvara, which is Pranava, the benefits of the Pranava Japa. So from 23 to 29, the sutras on God and the benefits and all that. Then from 30th sutra onwards, it talks about antarayas. There are 9 antarayas: Vyadhi, Sthana, Samshaya, Pramada, Alasya, Avirati, Bhranti Darshana, Alabdha Bhumikatva, and Anavasthitatva. These are the 9 antarayas. And accompanying the antarayas, we have Vikshepa Sahabhuva. Vikshepa Sahabhuva are Dukkha Daulmanasya Angame Jayatva Shwasa Prashwasa. So these are the aspects which accompany the obstacles, followed by the solutions to avoid all those obstacles. Now, what are the solutions? We have Ekatattva Abhyasa, cultivating the opposite virtues, Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha, so on and so forth. Then by controlling prana, observing the sense experiences, inner illumination, detaching from the matter, knowledge of the dream and sleep, meditation. So these are the 8 methods in which those obstacles can be avoided. Then we have fruits of meditation. So the fruit of meditation is the person who's meditating on that object can see that object, can understand it in a greater depth. So that kind of benefit is also given here. And then you see from 41 to 51, the different kinds of samadhis are described. Symptoms of samprajnata samadhi, Savitarka Samprajnata Samadhi, then we have Nirvitarka Samprajnata Samadhi, Savichara Nirvichara Samprajnata Samadhi, then we have some description about Sukshma Vishaya, Sabija Samadhi, Adhyatma Prasada, Ratambara Prajna, and Nirbija Samadhi, which leads to the Kaivalya state. So these are the last 10 sutras of the Samadhi Pada. Okay, so this was about the roadmap of the Samadhi Pada. Any questions before I start the chanting practice?
Ma'am?
Yes, please.
Rajeshwari here. So
Yeah.
when we are sleeping, we will be actually quiet and in a tranquil mode. So why has Patanjali categorized it as a vritti, ma'am?
We will be quiet, probably physically, our limbs and body, everything would be quiet. We wouldn't be doing anything physically, but mentally, there will be a lot of things which are going on. We do not have a control on that, right? Do you agree to that?
Yes, ma'am. Nowadays, the whole night they are awake and people need medication to sleep.
No, being awake is not a sleep state. Being awake is Jagrat Avastha. This is a different Avastha. But when a person is sleeping, he is in a Swapna, Nidra Avastha. When he's in Nidra Avastha, the mind might not be quiet. Mind might not be in a deep sleep. There might be something happening in the mind, like dreams and other things, right? Right?
Okay.
It is not
Okay.
taking any stimulus from the external objects or things which are outside, but you see, without any of those stimuli, the mind is still going into something and is connecting into something, right? It is going into the state where we are able to dream about something, think about something, right? The mind
Yes,
is kind of working on its own without any support from outside. That is why he described that is also a state. That is also a state which is very important to understand. Okay.
yes.
Somebody
Okay.
is saying that it's altered states of consciousness. Yes. So that is also a state. Any other questions?
I have a question. Sakshi is here, ma'am.
Yes.
Actually, I did not understand the Shipta, Muda, and Shipta state of Chitta Bhumi. Can you just explain it again?
Yes, please. I will do that. I will do that. So, do you have idea about the gunas?
Yeah.
So let
Sattva,
me
Raja, and
explain
Tama.
about the gunas. You see the concept of gunas coming in Sankhya. Okay, the entire philosophy of Yoga Darshana is based on Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya is one among the darshanas, the Shat darshanas.
Okay.
Did you get a chance to kind of visit the darshanas in your masters or other courses that you have done?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Actually, I just,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there are the Indian knowledge systems which are called as the Shat Darshanas. In those Shat Darshanas are the 6 Darshanas which are based on the Vedas. Okay.
Okay.
Some of them they take the basis of Vedas, and they also have added their own philosophy like Sankhya and Yoga. But there are other darshanas like Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa, which are purely based on the Vedas. Okay, so Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, and Vaisheshika, though their basis is from the Vedas, they have their own kind of philosophy coming into play. Okay, so they have their basis from the yoga, from Vedas, but they introduce their own philosophy there. They have their own philosophy. Now, as yoga talks about the mental states and what has to happen with the mind, and they go into the states of samadhi and all that, right? This is the speciality of Yoga Darshan. Okay, the basis is from the Vedas, but it gives its own flavor and it gives its own philosophy. So, like yoga is now, we see in the darshanas, there are darshanas which go together hand in hand, like Nyaya and Vaisheshika go hand in hand. Like the concepts of Nyaya and Vaisheshika pair with each other very well and go hand in hand, they're tandem. Okay, and the concepts of Sankhya and Yoga are paired very nicely. The concepts of yoga are based upon the concepts of Sankhya. When one understands the concept of Sankhya, they will be able to understand the yogic concepts in a better way. Getting it? Because you see, in yoga we use a lot of these terms, right? Purusha, Prakriti, Guna, Manas, Ahankara, Buddhi, right? And we use Pancha Mahabhutas, we use Tanmatras. All these things are nothing but the Sankhya philosophy. They all come from the Sankhya philosophy. So tomorrow I will explain the Sankhya philosophy, and from that probably you will be able to get a fair idea about what this is. Okay. So in the Sankhya philosophy, we have something called as gunas. Okay, gunas are 3 kinds. Gunas depend on the kind of activity that's going on. Now, in the state of Rajas, the Rajasic guna, there is a lot of activity happening. Okay, there is a particular state of mind when there is Rajas predominant. Okay, there's a lot of activity happening in the mind and also the body. People are very aggressive here. They are self-centered. So these are the qualities that you see in Rajasic tendency. Okay, it is not just for people. It is for anything and everything. These gunas apply, be it a living being or a non-living being. Everything has a guna. Everything is an attribute of Prakriti, and everything has a guna associated with it. Okay, so tomorrow I will be able to explain you, because we are almost coming to the close of the session. So I will be able to explain you about Sankhya tomorrow, and we'll go into deeper understanding about the gunas, the 25 evolutes, the 25 elements of Sankhya. And also I will explain you about the Chitta Bhumis. Chitta Bhumis, today I'll try to do that, try to understand this concept. So Chitta Bhumis are depending on the gunas. Okay, the state of our mind is depending on the guna. If there is lot of rajasic activity going on, then the state of mind is very distracted. You're getting it? So
Yeah.
rajas indicates that there's a lot of activity going on. If there's a lot of activity going on, what happens? We tend to get distracted, right? We have to do
Yes.
this, we have to do that. I by hook or crook have to get this done. So not one, there will be multiple things popping up in the mind,
Yeah.
right? That kind of
Yeah.
state is called as shipta. You just imagine a monkey on a tree jumping from one branch to the other. It's never static, it's never stable in one place, right?
Okay.
It jumps from
Okay.
one branch to the other, and it's constantly moving. It's never static.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a state of being distracted, which is called as kshipta.
Okay.
Got it? Then coming to mudha, mudha is a state of inertia. Inertia means they are very dormant. They don't want to do anything. They are lying lazy. Okay, and they are ignorant. Basically, they do not want to learn. They do not want to know anything. That is mudha. Okay,
Okay.
which relates to the tamasic tendency. If the mind is in a tamasic state, the avastha, the chitta bhumi that you see is mudha.
Okay.
Okay, then the third one is vikshipta. Vikshipta is a state which has both sattva and rajas. When it is in sattva, naturally it tends to come to a focused point, right? Because sattva is enlightenment, illumination, is peace, is tranquility, right? These are all the qualities of sattva, right? So when the mind is in sattvic state, it is very focused, very determined to be on that point. And there are occasions where the mind tends to get distracted. That is when the rajasic guna is dominating. So in vikshipta, you see it's a combination of sattva and rajas both. When the mind is predominantly in sattva, they focus. When it is going into rajasic tendency, they will get distracted. So there is an alternation between this and that. Getting it?
Okay, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah. And then ekagra avastha is the avastha in which we see 99.9% it is sattva guna predominant. When there is sattva predominant, the focus is very, very high. People don't get distracted in that state. Okay, so this is very, very conducive for yogic practices. And as I said, the vikshipta avastha is the start point of the yogic journey. So when one comes to the vikshipta avastha, at times they are focused, at times they could be distracted. You see, at times we tend to practice, and while we are practicing, we tend to focus. But at the same time, there might be other times during the practice where we are not able to focus very well. Right? So that is vikshipta. That is the start of the yogic journey. And then the next state is ekagra. Ekagra, we have 100%, 99.9% control on our thoughts. And we are steady on something. And there might be 1% chance, because ekagra avastha, again, is not completely devoid of the guna. We are still in the control of the sattva guna. Okay, we are under the control of sattva guna. So after the ekagra avastha, when we completely get a control of all three gunas, we go beyond the beyond that state where we don't have any influence of the gunas, neither sattva, rajas or tamas. No guna can influence or affect us. That is the state of niruddha avastha. Getting it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is how it begins. It starts off with kshipta, goes on to mudha, then vikshipta, ekagra, and niruddha.
Okay.
Okay? Yes. Anybody else Has
you,
any
ma'am.
other questions?
Yes, ma'am. There is, I think there is a missing in Tasya Vachaka Pranavaha. There the characteristics of God is not there in your note. That is Klesha Karma Vipaka Shaihi Aparamishta Purusha Vishesha Ishara.
Yeah, that was just a roadmap kind of a thing. While we are doing the sutra by sutra explanation and exploration of the sutras, we will go into the details about everything.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? I would like to take the chanting for a few minutes if you are all okay with that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
What's the mood like?
Yes,
Everybody is
ma'am.
okay with that?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Good, good, good. So we'll do a little bit of chanting because chanting is a very important aspect to crack the questions of UGC NET. Okay, without the chanting practice, it'll be like really difficult. You cannot do anything because the sutras, when you by heart the sutras, that itself will give you a lot of hints to answer the question. Okay, that's the way it is. So we will go into the sutras now. Just give me a second. Let me know if you're able to see the screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So the first sutra of Samadhi Pada is Atha Yoganu Shasanam. So I will repeat this a few times. Please listen to it carefully. Atha Yoga Anushasanam. I will repeat it one more time. Atha Yoga Anushasanam. Okay. So I would like you all to repeat it one by one. We'll do it a few times so that you get a hang of it. Please start off the first sutra. Just repeat it. One by one, you can start off.
Atha yoga anushasanam.
Good.
Atah
Yeah.
yoga anushasanam.
It is not
Atha yoga.
ataha. Listen. It is not ataha. It is atha. Okay. Chandrakala. Yeah.
Yeah.
So be very particular about the pronunciation. The pronunciation is very important for the sutras. You shouldn't learn the wrong pronunciation of the sutras. Okay. So it is
Yes, ma'am.
Atha Yoga Anushasanam. Why did the screen disappear suddenly? Okay. Yeah, go on. The third one, whoever wants to chant.
Atha yoga anusasanam.
Yes. Next.
Atah yoga anushasanam.
Yeah.
अथ योगानुशासनम् अथ योगानुशासनम्
Atha nahi. Atha. Atha
अथ योगानुशासनम्
Anushasanam. Yes. Yeah. Next.
अथ योगानुशासनम्
Yes. Yoganushasanam. Say it once again. Atha
yoganusasanam.
Very good. So should we go to the next one? The next sutra is Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha. I'll repeat it once again. Yogaschitta vritti nirodha. Go on.
Yogaschitta
One after the other, one after
Nirodha.
the other, please.
Yoga chitta vritti nirodha.
Repeat it once again.
Yoga chitta vritti nirodha.
Yogaschitta vritti nirodha.
Yogaschitta vritti nirodha.
Yes.
Yoga chitta vritti nirodha.
Yeah.
Yogaschitta vritti nirodha.
Yeah. Next one.
Yogas
Continue.
Yogaschitta vritti nirodha.
One more time.
Yogaschitta
Yogaschitta vritti nirodha.
Very good. Who wants to go next?
Yogaschitta vritti nirodha.
Okay. So now we'll go to the third one. Third one is tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. I'll repeat it once again. Tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam. Yes, please.
Tada drashuh swarupe avasthanam.
तदा द्रष्टुः स्वरूपे अवस्थानम्
Tada drashtu swarupe
तदा द्रष्टुः स्वरूपे अवस्थानम्
Yeah, one after the other, please. You all coordinate, do it one after the other.
Okay. तदा द्रष्टुः स्वरूपे अवस्थानम्.
Very good.
Thank you.
Go on. Who is the next one?
Tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam.
Very good. Very good. Is everybody clear with the third sutra? Anybody wants to chant? If you have a doubt,
स्वरूपे अवस्थानम्.
very good. So we'll go to the fourth one. If you have any kind of confusion or you're not clear with the pronunciation, stop. Okay, stop and ask. The fourth one is vritti sarupyam itaratra. Vritti sarupyam itaratra. Vritti sarupyam itaratra. Repeat it.
Vritti sarupyam vitaratra.
Yeah.
वृत्ति सारूप्यम् इत्यत्र.
Itaratra. Repeat that once again.
वृत्ति सारूप्यम् इत्यत्र.
Very good.
वृत्ति
सारूप्यम्
Yeah.
वृत्ति सारूप्यम् इत्यत्र.
Vritti sarupya.
Complete it.
Vritti sarupyam vitaratra.
वृत्ति सारूप्यम् इत्यत्र.
वृत्ति सारूप्यम् इति रत्र.
Itaratra. Okay.
Itaratra. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Who wants to go next?
वृत्ति सारूप्य मित्रत्र
Itaratra.
इतरत्र वृत्ति सारूप्यम् इतरत्र.
Yes. Yes. Clear, everybody? Anybody wants to try?
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, can I ask one question?
Can you?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, can we chant? Yes,
I
ma'am.
can't hear your voice well.
Matra.
Lipa lika.
Yes, ma'am.
I can't hear you well.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you repeat what you said?
Yes, ma'am. Now I audible?
Your voice is breaking, Lipa lika.
Okay, ma'am.
Repeat what you said once again.
Ma'am, can we chant the sutra in like this, means dividing the words? Is it correct way? In this point, I
When
have
you're
some
learning,
doubt.
when you're learning the sutra, it is always good to break it at the right point. Okay. Once you get a hang of all the words in the sutra, then you can chant the sutra as a whole unit, one single unit. Okay. That is the way we learn it. First, break it into smaller parts. Huh?
Yes, yes, ma'am. I am asking, ma'am, if any examiner or if any interviewer can ask the question, so we should chant the sutra means one way. Is it correct?
I didn't understand your question. If somebody asks you to chant the sutra,
Yes, yes. Ma'am, in front of an examiner or any in front of interviewer, if asks to us chant some sutra, so in which way we should chant the mantra is correct?
you should chant, if they are asking you to chant, you should chant it as a sutra, as a unit. You shouldn't break it. Okay.
Yes, yes, ma'am. That's what
Yeah.
I want to.
But in the exam, you will not be asked to chant. You will only be asked to mark the right answer. Okay. It will depend on the knowledge that you have of the sutra, the words in the sutra, the knowledge that you have of the sutra. Okay. So in the NET JRF exam, you will not be asked to chant. What will be asked is the knowledge that you have accrued from the sutra, the words which are important in the sutra, the sequence of the sutra, the concept of the sutra. These things are important. Okay. You should have a conceptual clarity of the sutras. Yeah. So I'm going to the next one, which is the 5th sutra. Vrittayah panchatayah klishta aklishtaha. Vrittayah panchatayah klishta aklishtaha. Vrittayah panchatayah klishta aklishtaha. I'll repeat it once again. Vrittayah panchatayah klishta aklishtaha. Please repeat it.
वृत्तयः पञ्चतयः
Once again.
वृत्तयः पञ्चतयः क्लिष्टानुक्लिष्टः.
Good. Shravya, would you like to chant?
वृत्तयः पञ्चतयः क्लिष्टा अक्लिष्टाः.
Good. Anybody else who would like to chant?
Vrittya,
Vrit,
Panchitya, Klista, Klistaha.
Klishta, aklishtaha. Yeah, good. Yeah. Lancy, would you like to chant?
yes, ma'am. Vrittayah, Panchitayah, Klishta, Aklishtaha.
Good.
Vrittayah, Panchitayah, Klishtaha, Aklishtaha.
Aklishtaha. That's how it ends. Yeah. Now,
वृत्त्यः पञ्चतयः क्लिष्टा अक्लिष्टायः
Vrittayaha. Repeat after me. Vrittayaha.
वृत्तयः
Panchatayaha.
पञ्चतयः
Klishta.
क्लिष्टा
Aklishtaha.
अक्लिष्टाः.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. So, should we repeat all the 5 sutras that we have done today?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Who wants to do it? Anybody who wants to try all 5 sutras?
Can I do
Can I?
that, ma'am?
Yeah, one after the other. Let me just put the order. Raise your hands who would like to. Shravya, you can start off. Who wants to go next? Okay.
Ma'am,
Rajeshwari.
Shravya,
Can you share that one, ma'am?
yeah. So I'll have to jump back and forth into this. 1 second. Yeah.
I'll start. Atha yoganuशासनम योगचित्तवृत्ति निरोधः तदा द्रष्टु स्वरूपे अवस्थानं वृत्तिसारूप्य मितरत्र वृत्तयः पंचतयः क्लिष्टा अक्लिष्टाः.
Good, good. Rajeshwari ji, you can go next.
Ma'am, so I learned this chant like a chant. Can I do that way or should I read it?
You can chant it. Yeah.
Atha yoganuशासनम् योगश्चित्तवृत्तिनिरोधः तदा द्रष्टुः स्वरूपे अवस्थानं वृत्तिसारूप्यम् इतरत्र वृत्तयः पञ्चतयः क्लिष्टाः.
Good.
Thank you.
Next one.
You want me to do the next one, ma'am?
No. The next student who wants to chant all 5 sutras.
Ma'am, can I?
योगानुशासनं योगश्चित्तवृत्तिनिरोधः तदा द्रष्टु स्वरूपेऽवस्थानं वृत्तिसारूप्यमित्रत्र वृत्तयः पञ्चतयः क्लिष्टाः.
Good. Who wants to go next?
Ma'am, me?
अथ योगानुशासनम् यगश्चित्तवृत्तिनिरोधः तदा द्रष्टु स्वरूपे अवस्थानम् वृत्तिसारूप्यम् इतरत्र वृत्तयः पञ्चतयः क्लिष्टाः.
Good. See, there will be differences in the chanting of each student because you come from different regions, your languages are different. Not everybody can chant it to that perfection. But nevertheless, you shouldn't make fundamental mistakes, like basic mistakes where you're spelling the word itself wrong and it's giving a wrong connotation or a meaning. Okay, that should be avoided as much as possible. You should learn the word in the right way. Okay, that's the goal. Yes, please. Whoever wants to go next.
Ma'am, can I? Yoga द्रष्टुपे
Good. Whoever it was, I couldn't hear the whole thing, but I think you chanted all the sutras, all the 5 sutras. Yeah. Next, please.
अथ योगानुशासनं योगश्च चित्तवृत्तिनिरोधः
अथ
तदा
यो
द्रष्टुं स्वरूपे अवस्थानं वृत्तिसारूप्यम् इत्यत्र वृत्तयः पञ्चतया क्लिष्टा अक्लिष्टाः.
Good. Good. Who wants to go next?
यथा योगानुशासनं
योग
मैम अथ योगानुशासनं योगश्चित्तवृत्तिनिरोधः तदा द्रष्टुं स्वरूपे अवस्थानं वृत्तिस्वरूपम् इतरत्र वृत्ताय पञ्चतत्त्वा क्लिष्टा अक्लिष्टः.
Repeat the 5th sutra.
वृत्ताय पञ्चतत्त्वाय क्लिष्टा अक्लिष्टः.
Vrittayah. Repeat after me. Vrittayah. Panchatayah.
तयः
Panchatayah.
पञ्चतयः क्लिष्टा अक्लिष्टः.
Vrittayah.
वृत्तयः पञ्चतत्त्वयः पञ्चतयः क्लिष्टा अक्लिष्टा.
Aklishtaha. Okay. Who wants to go next? Yeah, Chandrakala.
Yes. अथ योगानुशासनं योगश्चित्तवृत्तिनिरोधः तदा द्रष्टुः स्वरूपे अवस्थानं.
Good.
Then वृत्तिसारूप्यमितरत्र वृत्तयः पञ्चतयः क्लिष्टा अक्लिष्टाः.
Good. So if you are not chanting, if somebody else is chanting, please repeat the sutra, because it will be a revision for you also. Okay. So
Yes,
do you want to continue for a few more minutes, or should we stop here?
Let's stop.
I think we can stop here, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So we'll end now. Any questions? Anybody has any kind of questions, you can feel free to ask before we close the session. Tomorrow, please revise the sutras that we have learned and just revise the notes. We will have a quick revision. I might ask any of you to do a quick revision of the previous class. Be prepared for that. Okay. Every day this will be a routine that we would follow, because that will keep us up to date. When you are revising the previous class, you will be ready for the next class. Okay, that will be our approach. I might ask any of you to quickly revise the entire class or a part of the class. Is that okay with all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Yes.
Superb. Good.
Yes, ma'am, I have to say something.
Yes,
I
please.
don't know. I will be able to join the class on alternate days, but I will be using the recorded classes for making the notes because of some time overlapping happening in the same time, around 8 in the evening. So will that be okay? Will I be considered regular?
Yeah, you would be considered regular as long as you're able to catch up and kind of, if you're not able to attend the live session, the expectation is for you to be able to attend the recorded session, take the recorded session, make notes, be prepared for the next live class.
Yes, ma'am, that I'll make sure that I do the same.
Yeah. But the recommendation or the suggestion would be, as much as possible, do not miss the live classes. Never miss the live classes. Try to attend them as much as possible. That is the best way. Because recorded sessions, what happens is, I personally have this feeling that people take it easy. They don't sit through it. They keep doing other things because it's a recorded session. No, you wouldn't be that interested. You getting it? That is the problem. But
Yes,
it's
ma'am. Yeah.
submitted. If you still feel that you can catch up with everything, then yes, please go ahead. That is the best way to learn. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll end it now. Please sit straight with your head, neck, and spine erect. Join your palms. Who would like to do the closing prayer today?
Ma'am, can I?
Yeah. Sakshi ji, do it.
Ma'am, that's Shanti Mantra, right? Om
Yes.
Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Please keep your back straight. Join your both palms and start chanting Shanti Mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. Sarve Santu Niravayan. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma Kachit Dukha Bhave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Rub your both palms. Place it on your face. And gently open your eyes. Thank you.
Thank you, Sakshi. Thank you all. Shivratri to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Good night.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Shubhratri, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.